Message brought to you by Cumberland Electric Membership Corporation.
Hey, this is Adam Crabb with the Gaither Vocal Band, and you are listening to one of the best Southern gospel stations.
WSGI AM 1100, Springfield's God Informer.
One street over there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Hello, good morning. I'm going to go ahead and interrupt the guys. This is, you know it, 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and welcome to it. This is what we do, a little thing called One Street Over, every weekday morning, 7 to 8 a.m., again, on 1100 WSGI. I didn't have the music pulled all the way down, so let's do that call sign again. But here we go. I'm having a hard time keeping track of the days this week because we had a day off Monday. Now, I came in and did radio, but we weren't in school and, a lot of things were closed. But so it's Wednesday. And we're all anticipating Snowmageddon. We like to compare what's coming in. They're saying this weekend we're really going to get it. So the kids, my school kids are just beside themselves, looking forward to, if we don't get a bunch of snow days next week, or at least a couple, we're going to be so disappointed. Let's be real. Us teachers are going to be disappointed too. But anyway, I don't want to just sit here and kind of prattle on as I have been known to do, because I have got Diana Rodriguez in the studio with me, my new friend who I met through I am on the missions committee at Madison Church of Christ. And largely because I get to work down in Mexico in El Rosario in our mission point down there. And I just love it. I just love being a part of that. And I'm just so close to the people who we sponsor up in the Ukraine, our sweet Natasha out there. But I learned about a new mission that we are working with at the missions meeting probably a month ago. And then just in the last couple of weeks, you came in and presented to us, and wow, you blew me away. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So glad to meet you. And you're just absolutely beautiful. And I love your story and all the things that you have to share. And, as we were sitting there, you and I were messaging, I said, okay, I want to get you to come on the radio and talk. I want you to share as much of your story as you want to.
Okay.
And maybe let's start with, tell them about what you're doing in Mexico. Tell them about the work right now and these beautiful babies that you gave me a picture of. How gorgeous are they? Tell me about that, and then let's talk about how we got there as much as you want to share.
Okay. So I run a ministry in Mexico. It's called Agape Mexico. We partner here with an organization called Agape to the Nations. So we're under their umbrella, but we take care of 22 kids in Mexico. They all have, very harsh backgrounds. Most of their parents are drug addicts. So we started with an after-school program. So we feed them once a day a nutritional meal. We tutor them because most of these kids are behind in school. We teach them about God. We teach them that there is somebody out there looking out for them, and we teach them how to pray. That's what we started. We have bigger goals, and that's what we're working on right now.
Is this because your sister's there?
Yes.
And she basically takes care of things, and you go down, you say, every few months?
Yes.
Okay. And is this where you're originally from? Is this your home?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
And what is the name of the city again?
So it's called Jaltomate, Aguascalientes. Yes.
Okay. And it is a troubled area. It's a hard area, isn't it?
Yes, it's terrible. Cartels, you guys, I'm sure you've seen in the news, and it's pretty terrible. They've just hand out drugs, and people use them to work longer hours, multiple days, and then they're full-blown addicts. So then there's all these little kids and single moms just trying to make it,
And so they're saying, yeah, you tired? Well, here, this will help.
That's right. Yes.
And we have seen through our history in America where in times of war, people are treated for pain and things that they deal with because of the effects of war, and they become addicted
Absolutely.
to different things. And so, they're saying, hey, this will help you. And then the next thing you know, you've got, great addiction. One of the things that we're doing down in El Rosario is as a matter of fact, a team is getting ready to go down there. I forget the exact time, but they're going to be building a dormitory at a rehab center because it's such a problem. Mm-hmm. And there's just not, we don't have adequate access to rehab here in America. In Mexico, it's almost non-existent.
Forget about it.
Almost non-existent. And in the place where we went in El Rosario, which is actually much calmer, much safer area than what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And they have a rehab center that was just abysmal. It was heartbreaking to see the circumstances, not enough food, just the living conditions were just awful.
Yes.
And I can't even imagine in an area, because El Rosario is kind of, I don't know if you've been down, have you spent any time in the Baja?
No, I have not. Not yet.
It's from what I understand, it's quite different than areas in central Mexico where the cartel's all over.
It's everywhere. Yeah. Yes.
But it doesn't seem to be quite as prevalent and I don't really know, but talking to my friends down there, it seems to be a little bit easier to live in those areas versus, and I can't imagine because they're, living in abject poverty, a lot of people, but I just can't even imagine what these precious little kids are going through and the families are going through, and beautiful families where you have, mom and dad that are, trying to take care of their families, and they go to work. Next thing you know, you've got an addicted parent that, was just walked into it.
Yep.
And it's just tragic. And you're just trying to take that spot and say, okay, I can help right here.
That's right.
And
yes.
I just think it's so beautiful. And
thank you so much.
I just know, so how did you come about this? Because tell us, do you mind telling us your story and,
sure,
and how you got here? Because
sure.
I know it from what you told us at church in the missions meeting, but tell us about how you got here.
Yeah, so I'm one of 4 kids. My mom was a single mom in Mexico. Mm-hmm. So she would take us to this rural community where we're working, where my grandmother lived. And we used to go every weekend. And, back then when we were kids, it was like the only fun we had because life at home, life at home was harsh. Mom had to work all the time. I kind of took over raising my younger siblings. Mm-hmm. At the time, my mom had a newborn baby. I was 11 years old. And, I look back and I'm like, how can an 11-year-old take care of a newborn, But I see the hand of God. I see that, he protected us. And I mean, we made it. We made it alive. So, whenever, I think it was about a year ago, one of my uncles, he became a drug addict, and so my sister calls me. He has 5 kids, so
Wow.
yeah. So I'm like, well, how can we help? So we start sending money monthly to help out the kids. So then I took a trip. I've done multiple mission trips around the world, and God has blessed me and has put me in spots that I've never thought I would be. So, I have a heart for mission. So I went down there and having a conversation with my sister. I'm like, do you remember how harsh it was to be in that situation? And, you're just full of fear, hunger. You feel alone. You feel pretty alone. So she was like, so why don't we try to do something? I wonder how many families are like this. So then I came back to the States and I had a conversation with my husband, and lots of prayers, and God just made it clear that we needed to do something in Mexico. So, just supporting these kids in the way that I wish I was supported, because life is so hard when you're in that situation, but just having faith that there's somebody there and that things are going to get better.
So interesting
Yeah.
that you say that. I had a conversation yesterday with some of my Hispanic kids in my class,
Yeah.
and we were talking about the life of Dr. Martin Luther King
Oh my
and what it was
goodness.
like during the 60s when he was assassinated and during that
Yes.
time. And one of the kiddos asked me, she said, where were the Hispanic people during that time? And I said, well, there really weren't that many in this middle America, area where he was fighting so hard. And I remembered a conversation. I told her, I said, actually, I remember a conversation I had with a friend of mine in Mexico. She lives in Tecate. And she told me, and she's about my age, I'm 63. And she said when she was a child, she says, so what was happening to the Hispanic people during this time? The Mexican people. And I said, all I know is what my friend Magdalena told me. She said, I remember as a child being in our village and wondering, do people not know we're here?
Yeah.
Because she felt so, she just didn't have anything, often went
Yeah.
hungry and just nothing. And she goes, I often, and this is before she knew God, this is before she had any faith or anything like that. Now her brothers became missionaries. She became a Christian. She's very, godly woman. And she told me, she says, but I often thought, do they not know we're here?
Right.
And that's the thing. It's like when we're neglecting these opportunities to just to pour into the world, wherever God calls you to. He's called you here.
Yeah.
And he's called you into the agape ministry. He's called me down into a Rosario. He's, called different people, wherever he calls you, and your calling can change from time to time. But
Absolutely.
wherever he calls you to go, answer it. And right here in America, wherever he's called you in your neighborhood, answer it, because there are kids going, do they not know I'm here?
Right.
And I believe that's still an echo. I believe that's still just across the board. So many that are falling through the cracks going, do they not know I'm here?
Yeah.
So God bless you for answering that call,
Thank you
man.
so much.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so
Thank you.
beautiful. And I know that our church is committed. I want you to tell the story, because before we get too far along, number one, this is an appeal that if you can help in any way, if you're looking for something that you want to pour into, this is a great one. And it's new enough that, man, you can really see it just from the very ground up. That's one thing I love about the work in El Rosario is I've been part of the Baja Mission picture since we were just going, let's go to El Rosario. And I've been able to experience watching that, develop into what it is now from the very ground up. And it's a comforting feeling that because sometimes we all get to places like, well, I'm not doing anything, and so that's that reassurance of the Lord just going, no, we're good. let's do more. But let's look at the history. Let's look at the tangible evidence of they're making a difference. So that's really a beautiful thing. This is an opportunity to watch this develop into this sweet little group of kids to multiply. Because how many more children are there?
Oh my goodness.
How many? Because this city is how big? It's you were
Well,
telling us
the little town that we're working at,
Right.
there's 30,000 people.
it's not a little town.
Yes,
Can you
I
imagine
mean,
how many
yeah.
babies are in there that just need somebody to
Yes.
love on them.
we have a waiting
And,
list,
sure
but we
you
can
do.
only do so much. We work,
Right.
we're volunteers. So all the money that comes in goes straight to the kids and, the fund that we're working towards. Yeah.
So before we get into some of the other background, tell them how they can get in touch with you and how they can help with this.
Yeah,
because
sure.
sometimes people they'll watch the show for a minute and then they'll drop away, and so we want to make sure they get that out.
Yeah. You can always email me. My email is super easy, Diana, Diana, at agapetothenations.org. And you can find me there under partners. And you can call me 615-600-6179. Let's have coffee. Let's meet.
I love it.
Yes.
Now do the email and the phone number again. In radio,
Yes.
you always do it twice.
Right.
'Cause people
Okay.
are like, "What was that?" So
Yes, so
do it
it's
again.
Diana, Diana,
At Agape.
at agapetothenations.org, and my number is 615-600-6179.
Perfect. So now I want you to tell the story because I just love this because you growing up in Mexico, you want to be in America.
Yeah.
So tell us how that happened, and I want to hear about Begin Anew and all of that, and that
Absolutely.
because that is just a beautiful story to me. So if you don't, do you mind telling that?
No, absolutely. I'd love to share.
So share that with everyone.
Yeah, so
you come from a tangible experience. You've lived it. That's why I want people to hear this. So go ahead.
Thank you. So, like growing up in Mexico, it was hard. And I've always had this thought that I want to leave Mexico. I want to leave Mexico, and God opened doors, and I was able to migrate here about 16 years ago. And, coming with a background like mine, I kind of just follow the steps of my mother. I became a single mom of two wonderful girls. And, it was hard too. It was a lot of hustle. It was, getting my 6-year-old, I know she was 9 at the time, to take care of a 3-year-old. So, I'm repeating patterns. And then one day I was a bartender, and one of my coworkers, she's like, "Hey, there's a church in Madison that they have a GED program." And
GED. Yeah.
GED program, and they take care of your kids so you can learn. And that just really caught my attention. I went there, I met with the director at the time, and I started school. That was my school. I've always been very passionate about education, but I just couldn't. I thought I couldn't have an education here because I didn't speak the language. Well, they happened to have an ESL class too. They had a class for like skills, life skills,
Right.
computer skills. So I did all the courses they gave us. I got my GED, and then I was exposed to these ladies that showed up every week and that love my kids.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it's just so beautiful. And she's talking about, I'll take, it's called Begin Anew.
Yes.
And is a program that we partner with them at the Madison Church of Christ. And I don't know how long they've been there, but they've been there a very, very long time. And they were there when I was working at the church and just had so many great relationships. And I'm just so thankful that that program is there and accessible because of this beautiful story. And so you come in to Begin Anew. It's a place because you imagine being a single mom, couple of kids, you're having to let one child watch the other one so you can go work and just pay the bills, keep a roof over their head and food in their stomachs. And you're like, how can I ever get out of this cyclical thing because I don't have a GED? My language skills, I'm sure you were, trying, but it's trying to really get the skill to speak English. And you hear about there's a program called Begin Anew, and they'll watch your kids and they'll come in and they'll teach you English. They'll help you get your GED. They'll teach you how to use a computer. It's just a beautiful program. I just love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And I'll let you, now that
But I'll
you've got
tell you-
yourself together, I'll
I'll tell you
continue.
the most important part for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was introduced to the Bible.
Mm.
I was taught how to look a verse. I was taught how to pray.
Mm.
And my life changed. My life changed because I started to gravitate to people that follow those principles. And, I started applying those principles to my life. And, life just, it was still hard, but it was so much better.
Mm-hmm.
I had confidence that I was working towards something and that God was going to bless us,
Mm-hmm.
So I graduated. I went back to college. I got an associate's degree. Yes, I got
So cool.
Yes,
It's amazing.
I had the
love it.
opportunity to go shadow at a dental office through Begin Anew.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hired on as an assistant, and I've been working there for about, it's going to be 11 years now. I've
Wow.
got all the certifications you can get,
Yeah.
and life just gotten better,
Yeah.
and I think it's because I hold on to that, promise that
Mm-hmm.
he had a bright future for me. That I'm sorry I get so emotional, but
But it's just such a beautiful story.
Yeah.
You talk about, people think, oh, I just can't do it. I can't. I talk to my high school kids all the time, and they talk about the dire situation the world is in and all this. And I'm like, just get it done. You've got
Work
every
hard.
opportunity right in
Yes,
front of you.
yes.
And I just try to encourage them, because we talked about the life of Dr. Martin Luther King yesterday, because they were out of school on Monday. And I talked about the times and how they've changed and all these things. And I have I have something that I like to tell them. I say, if you want the world to change, you have to want to change
Yes.
the world. And that means you've got to get involved.
Absolutely,
You've got to get some skin in the game. You've got to do some of the work.
yeah.
And but if you want the world to change, you have to want to change the world. So be the
Yes.
change. You
Oh
know,
my goodness.
be the change.
Yes.
And that's what I just love your story. It is just
Thank
so amazing and
you.
beautiful, and
Thank
just
you
so
so
full
much.
circle. You know,
Yes.
tell us how you met your hubby.
Oh.
So tell them who
This
you're
is
married to and who your in-laws are and all that for the Madison peeps.
So I'm married to Donald Barnes, and my in-laws is Chuck and Linda Barnes.
Did you know that, Paul Rainey? My friend
wonderful,
Paul Rainey
wonderful.
on here. I don't know if he knew that, but because I know he's listening. He's a Madison member. He's one of my brothers up at
okay.
Madison Church of Christ. and-
Yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful people.
Yeah, they really are. And I was like, when you told me who you were, I was like, what? How did you got to me?
So, I was a single mom, so I had to hustle, any way I could make money. And one of my friends had this electric bike that she wanted to sell, and she said, I'll give you half of it if you sell it. So I posted it on Facebook, and he was the first one that sent a message. He came and looked at the bike, and I don't know. He got out of his truck, and I was like, oh, what a handsome man. But I didn't think anything about it,
Yeah.
And then the bike was missing a key, and, he reached out, and we messaged for about 3 months before he asked me out to have coffee, and now we're married.
I just love that.
I
just
know,
think
and
it's
I
so
feel like it's
beautiful.
a
He's
God
such
thing,
a great guy,
you know?
and it's such a beautiful family, and that's
He's
just the Lord
wonderful.
bringing people together.
Absolutely.
It's just that
Yes.
chance meeting.
Yes.
God knows what he's doing.
And,
knows
he
what
was
he's doing every day.
Yes, he was along for a long time. I was along for a long time. I committed to my education, my my relationship with God, and my kids.
Yeah.
So I was not looking for anything. He was not looking for
Yeah.
anything, and here we are.
I know. I just love
Best
how the Lord
decision I've
does
ever
that.
made.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you're somebody out there that you've been alone a long time, never close yourself off,
Oh no,
because
no,
you
no.
just never know who might come to pick up
Yes.
a bike.
Yes.
You just never know. I just
Yeah.
love that story, and I love the family. And
Oh, my
like,
goodness.
when we were in the meeting, and you told me, because I had just not placed him. He came in, and it didn't hit me who he
Yeah.
was, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, that is so cool, because
Yes.
they're awesome people.
And he is
Yeah.
a wonderful husband because he has wonderful parents, and they have offered such
Yes.
a wonderful environment for him.
Mhm.
So I always tell them, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for raising him so good,
know,
because he's wonderful.
Isn't that something? I pray for I tell everybody, I've been praying for my daughter-in-laws ever since I was instructed at the Madison Church. I was sitting in Bixler's Chapel, and one of the preachers said to us, said, pray for it. Actually, I think it doesn't matter. I think it was Steve Flatt, actually, in the main auditorium, that said, pray for the people who your children will marry.
Mm.
And I look at the lives of my daughter-in-laws. They're all from stable families, loving mother, father, which is just unbelievable in the day and age where there's so many broken families, that every single one of my daughter-in-laws come out of those kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, and it's so apparent in the lives that my sons are leading with their brides. And so I'm already praying for my my grandchildren's spouses. So I encourage you to do that, because, man, you're right.
I sure
You're
will.
right.
Yes.
I mean, it makes a difference. So I just love that y'all
goodness,
found each other. And we didn't get that at the missions meeting the other day. We didn't get how you guys met.
I
So
know,
I was
it's such
wanting
a
to
funny
know that.
story.
But we're talking with Diana Rodriguez, and we're talking about all things Agape for the Nations, but your program is Agape
Mexico. Yes.
And I thought it was just that simple, but I wasn't sure. And you gave me a beautiful calendar the other day that I've got up in my room at school. And I just want to encourage you, if you're looking for something to be a part of, this is a good place to be a part of. It's beautiful, and they need your funds right now. There's no trips going down there or anything like that.
No.
Because it's really not a super stable area for a lot of that, is there?
Absolutely. Yes. So now it's kind of shifting. The people are kind of, racing, and what they're doing is they're blocking main interstates now. Like, the truckers are not trucking, they just decide they're not going to move anything. So now the biggest concern is getting stuck there, like not being able to get a flight home. I think they've gotten away from like the kidnappings and all that stuff, but now it's like, I can't, I hesitate to take a team down there because everybody has families and jobs to come back to. So we're praying that hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be able to take somebody down there. But I go and check on things, and, love on the kids, take stuff. Yeah.
Is there anything other than, monetary support that you need right now? Like, when will you be returning?
We have a trip planned in April. Okay. So, like shoes. Shoes is a big thing. They're always needing shoes. Clothes, yeah, I can take clothes, but I think that the main thing is shoes. They go through shoes so quick. And books. Like Bible story books, yes, in Spanish. Okay. But yeah, I mean, the biggest need is shoes all the time.
How much stuff can you carry? Because, I mean, I'll tell you, now people will load you up. Now, when you're talking shoes, what type of shoe do you need?
Like tennis shoe.
Do you know the sizes you need? Because you're looking at a specific group here.
Yeah, so it's elementary school.
You would have a list of sizes and things that you could use, because you'll get. How many bags can you carry? Because that's always our issue when we're going down to Rosario is we call it smuggling for Jesus.
I love that.
Because I mean, when we go anywhere, and other mission teams go other places that I'm not going to disclose, it's smuggling for Jesus. So, because people, you go in the border and they'll be like, why do you have all this stuff? And I've seen people have to pay bribes to get it across the border.
Yes.
So how much can you carry? Because you don't want to get inundated, but just tennis shoes, things that will pack easy.
Right.
Not heeled boots. No, those in Mexico. Yeah.
No, we don't. So just think about elementary school kids, and we're able to take about 6 big suitcases. So
good. Okay.
So 50-pound suitcases full of shoes.
Oh,
that makes a lot of difference.
April, that's coming up quick, guys.
Yes.
So books, Spanish language books, some shoes for these kiddos. How about sunglasses, little kiddos' sunglasses? Because we give out, because we have an eye clinic in El Rosario, and we hand out so many little kids sunglasses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's something they love, number one. They
don't have any. Yeah.
And they need the eye protection. So many of the people who we serve in the eye clinic in El Rosario, some of them just need readers very young because their eyes have been so damaged because they haven't had sunglasses.
We'll
So
take
maybe some little kid sunglasses would be really
for
good.
sure. Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know, some stuff like that. So we need to get a list together. Okay, Madison Peeps for sure. You know, we'll work on that. But if you're in the community here and this has touched your heart in a way and you want to get involved, we're out of time, unfortunately, Diana. We'll get you back in
It's
to get an update. But give your email twice and your phone number twice if you want to get in touch with her for Agape Mexico, this new mission down there from her home and her heart and what God's called her to if you want to be a part of it. This is your invitation to do that. So tell them how to get in touch with you.
Please get in touch with me. Our email is diana@agapetothenations.org. diana@agapetothenations.org. And my phone number is 615-600-6179. 615-600-6179.
That's beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my
for having
pleasure.
me.
This has been so much fun. I'm so
Thank
thankful
you.
to do this, and we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
But, I stay
Yes.
live, so I'll just have to let you kind of make your way out. I saw Ryan come in, so our city manager's coming up, and he'll be with us in just a moment, reporting on the mayor's. You take your time. You're fine. I'm going to do a commercial as you're heading out, and you take your time. But we're talking to Ryan Martin coming up next. He had the mayor and alderman meeting here in Springfield last night, so he's going to give us a full report on that in just a moment. And as I'll see you later, Diana. Thank you so much. And as she's making her way out, let me remind you too, Begin Anew is the program she was talking about that helped her build a life here in America. And if you want to know more about that program, you can reach out to the Madison Church of Christ. I don't have the number right on me, but you can reach out to them and they can put you in contact with Begin Anew. That is the program that we partner with there at the church and have been for a long time, and it's done phenomenal things. We're going to talk about now Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Come on in, Ryan. But we're talking about all the things that they do. I got such a kick out of Rebecca's post the other day. She said, let me see if I can find it real quick again. But she was saying that it was hysterical when she was trying to, she thought about the things, you know how when you go and pull something up, Ryan, and then it just disappears on you?
Every time.
All of a sudden, it's like, what? Where'd it go? Rebecca put up this post the other day. She said, the things I never dreamed I would say when I became a realtor. It says, one thing I totally underestimated when becoming an agent was the amount of times I would say, we have to make sure that cat doesn't get out. Have you seen the cat? Did the cat get out of the house when we came in? And I just think that's so hysterical when you're showing houses. And the reason why I find that so hysterical is I'm in the process of trying to find a new kitten, a new cat, because I don't like going without a cat because I don't like mice. But that's another story for another time. So I just thought that was really hysterical. But I go in every day and check Rebecca and Barry's Facebook pages to see what they're up to. They're our longest running full-time sponsor. And no matter what you're doing in real estate, they are your go-to. Whether it be that you've got property, maybe it's been that you've had property on the market for a while and it's just not moving and you've got to do something about it. Well, have you thought about having a marketer involved in it? That's who Barry is. He was the vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years in Nashville, and he brings that expertise, photography, videography, drone footage, walkthrough tours, all the things that you need to make sure that your property doesn't get lost in the shuffle when people are trying to find something. And there's a lot of property out there right now. It is really kind of more set for the buyers, I think, right at the moment, they were telling me. And people will say, well, is it a good time to buy? He says it's always a good time to buy because the adage is if the interest rates are high, property values go down. The minute that the interest prices go down, property prices go up. It just shifts. If you've got property that you're looking at and you're like wondering if it's time to buy, don't wait, because if it's gone, it's gone. If you are thinking about selling, one of the first things you need to do is what's the market analysis? What is the reasonable amount that I can get for my property? Do I really want to sell? Is this really a good time? And they'll walk you through that. If you want to be a realtor, they'll walk you through that too. Is it really something that you want to do? And if you decide you want to be mentored into being a realtor, they are the perfect couple to do it because they came out of other careers as well. And they worked with the Exit Company because it had everything they need. Right now, on both of their Facebook pages, they've got a property that they're super excited about that's coming soon at 257 Fairwave Drive in Franklin, Kentucky. So that's kind of front and center on both of their social media pages. So if that's something you're interested in, need to go take a look at it. I talk about how that they specialize in Robertson County properties because they've been in Robertson County for 30 years, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. And they can still sell and buy and sell in Kentucky because the broker that Rebecca works with up in White House can still broker deals in Kentucky. They've changed the laws up there. So if somebody says, hey, I can help you out with Kentucky properties, you better make sure they can. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. Connect with them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. And you can call them 615-504-7425 or 615-504-7424. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. Let them know U-Turn sent you. Ron Martin's in the house. Did you meet my friend?
I saw her on her way out.
She's
we
wonderful.
Spoke on the way out. So
really cool program. She's developed a program down in Mexico where they're taking care of these kids. I know you're a mission-minded person.
Sure.
Those are the kiddos, and it's Agape Mexico, taking care of kiddos that are just falling through the cracks down there. It's just a beautiful program.
Wow.
Yeah, it's there's just so many places. We were talking about when you feel the call of God on something. This is, because this is from her home in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel God calling you somewhere, answer it. Because even though you might think, oh, what difference it's going to make? It's going to make a difference there. It's going to make a difference there. And we have that call all over our community as well.
That's right.
So I always see you with the Isaiah bracelet on. Do you
I
have
do.
your Isaiah bracelet?
I don't this morning.
You
It's
don't
funny that you
most
said
of
it,
the
but most of
time.
the time I do. Yeah.
That's what made me think of that is you always have a lot of the times having an Isaiah, and we're talking about the Isaiah house that takes care of the kiddos that have unfortunately, have to be helped because their parents are going through something, and Children's Services has been called in, and it's a place for them to be welcomed into this beautiful home until they can be placed in foster care or until they're situated, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful program. Oh, just a beautiful
We're
program.
so fortunate to have that program here locally.
So much.
Unfortunately, there's a need, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think, I mean, the unfortunate part is that there's a need in our society for a program like that.
Right.
Different organizations like Isaiah 117 or Open Door Pregnancy Center, unfortunately, but we're thankful to have those.
Yes.
Those and the folks that are behind those. That's what often goes unnoticed is the folks that, like you said, answered that call.
You bet.
So.
Yeah, and you hear their story, and it is a call. It is a calling on their lives. So there's so many things like that, but that's what we were talking about. So I didn't know if you got to hear it, but I knew you would get into it because I know you're very mission-minded.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we've got to talk about the mayor and alderman meeting. We're, just kind of in the first of the year, but there's a lot to do. And it's like I had Terry in the other day, and we already have the dates for our Friday markets.
Yeah.
And we already have the bands for the Friday markets, and he released that here. I was super excited about that. Great numbers at Winter Wonderland.
Oh my goodness.
My goodness.
Incredible.
Oh, and it was so beautiful. So beautiful.
It was, and we can start there. We need to talk about. It sounds like it's going to be a good weekend to go to the lake, so we can talk about this weekend too. About
I love the sarcasm there. Yeah.
So we'll get there. Yeah. I think we need to address that. But Winter Wonderland, kudos to that's a parks and recreation department event that they host, but there's a lot of other departments that play a role in that.
Yeah.
But kudos to Terry and his staff and everybody else that played a role in that from other departments that allowed that. The police department plays a huge role in making sure traffic gets out. It is when they called me one Friday night and they said, "Is there something wrong at Winter Wonderland?" And I said, "I don't know." It was a call from the PD. I said, "Not that I know of. No one's called." Mm-hmm. Well, traffic is at a standstill on Bill Jones Industrial and out on Memorial. There was that many people trying to get into Winter Wonderland.
Wow.
It was that, which is a great problem to have, right? Unfortunately, it created some traffic issues for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes there. That's the only complaint that we really got this year was that it took, traffic, right? And because we're one of the few regional events, it's free.
Yeah.
And pretty much everywhere else you have to go costs money to get in. Yeah.
It's not
so,
cheap.
And to have a quality event like that we can maintain as free thanks to partners and thanks to the investment by the city, that's important. Now, we did upset some folks. I got a really nasty email from a gentleman that was disappointed that Winter Wonderland was closed, or that Travis Price Park was closed on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And I had to apologize to him, but because that what people don't realize about Winter Wonderland is it takes about 4 weeks on one side to set up. Then it's a 4-week event, and then it's about really they got it down this year in about 2.5 weeks, but all told. But it takes a while on the backside to get it cleaned up, and it's not really safe to get into the park. So the park has to be closed for a while, and so we appreciate everyone's patience, and sorry for the inconvenience for those that tried to visit while the park was closed while we were taking down Winter Wonderland.
I mean, cut them some slack, y'all. And two, Terry was telling me people were upset because it was closed on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But the reason for that is, and he explained it, he said, what will happen is if we don't have somebody out there monitoring, they get out of their cars, they walk around the sets, they tie up the lights, they make a mess. And you have to have somebody out there. As much as you think, people would just be driving through. No, they don't. Somebody has to work on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day for that to be open, and you just don't want that for your employees. And,
right.
And we publicize. We said it and said it and said it, and everywhere I looked, it was said.
Yeah.
And so just keep that in your mind that next year you can't go on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You need to go. There's plenty of other times we went. It was just beautiful, and they did a great job.
Well, this was the first year that it was actually opened through Christmas, right? Normally it closes before Christmas.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what made things different this year too.
So, yeah.
Is we opened earlier by a week and extended later by a week because we have had so many people last year that visited and wanted a longer opportunity to visit Winter Wonderland. So that's what changed that. And those employees, hey, I don't want anybody to think that city employees go home on, we have a ton of employees that are working Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I mean, we have 24/7 operations that run on holidays, weekends, all hours, 24 hours a day. But those parks employees that do staff Winter Wonderland, they're already working all the weekends in December because they have to staff that.
Yeah.
Usually there's a Sunday visit. Usually have to come back out Sunday during the day. If there was wind that blew through that night or something to go repair and fix and patch up and things like that to get it ready to reopen for the following night. So they're already putting in a lot of time and hours in the month of December, and we really want them to be home with their families on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, I'm afraid we wouldn't have any employees to run Winter Wonderland if we had them work the whole month of December.
That's just it.
But
So
it's a huge event. I don't want to let the negative overtake the positive.
No, not at all.
A lot of great feedback, and that's what I say it all the time, LaVern. We're in the business of serving our citizens, right, and our customers. And so if we want to do things that our customers want because it's their money, it's their investment, right? And if we're doing something that's not what they want, then we want to do something different. But Winter Wonderland is a very, very positive event for our community.
I agree. And it was beautiful and very well done. And here we are, 2026. I can't hardly believe it. Oh my goodness, it's going so fast. So how long have you been in your position?
This will be my 6th year.
Oh, wow. It's going fast, isn't it?
It is very much going fast.
So how was your meeting last night? Was it busy, big, or?
Meeting was not very busy last night. We had a few things on the agenda that are of pertinent that people will notice, and so I will hit one of the topics that I think has been a countywide topic lately. We did the board did vote to extend or stay the enforcement of the water service ordinance outside the urban growth boundary. I think a lot of people have heard a little bit about that. Some people don't care because it doesn't affect 90% of folks. I think some people have heard a little bit about it, but not many folks know exactly what that meant. We had, during our comprehensive growth plan that we did a couple of years ago, the consultant that we hired evaluated utilities, evaluated growth, evaluated all sorts of things, and said, hey, you don't have a water issue now, but if you want to avoid one in 20 years, you need to look at how much expansion in your water system you're going to do. Mm-hmm. The board took heed to that and said, well, let's limit expansion of the water system outside the urban growth boundary. For those that don't know what the urban growth boundary is, there's the city limits, and then there's this territory, a buffer territory outside your city limits. It's a negotiated boundary with the county that cities have. That allows, it's where you can annex. People think cities can just go out and annex anywhere. They cannot. Mm-hmm. It has to be within your urban growth boundary, which is a negotiated agreement with the county, and it has to be done by request. But basically, the annexation by referendum is not much of a thing anymore, mm-hmm. And it certainly can't go out and just unilaterally. The city can't go out and unilaterally annex property. So, the city board, mayor, and alderman said, well, okay, let's limit the expansion of the water system outside the urban growth boundary since we're not going to be annexing outside of that anyway. Well, the issue with that is that left some folks in some of the rural areas without being able to get new taps. If people wanted to subdivide farmland, pass down to the grandkids, and the grandkids, I was going to divide up eight tracts for my grandkids, for all 8 of my grandkids, and then they can't get water taps, right?
Yeah.
So it created an unintended negative consequence for some folks. And so the primary thing we've been working through is with the town of Coopertown. Because the town of Coopertown is the biggest unknown we service the entire area in Coopertown. And so we've been working and making some progress on resolving that as far as what their maximum exposure looks like, and maybe looking at someone taking over that territory. We've made far enough progress with that the board wants to stay that deadline of enforcement, which will alleviate some of the concerns of the folks that are not in that affected area. So it's complicated. The biggest thing most folks are unaffected, and I don't think it's an issue going to be much of an issue moving forward.
Yeah, I have some friends that own quite a bit of property in Coopertown.
Okay.
They've been there forever.
Yeah.
And so I know a little bit about what the talk has been just from what I've heard from them.
Yeah.
So there's something they're kind of it's definitely got their interest.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of unknown and a lot of because it is sort of a complex issue because most folks don't know what the urban growth boundary is and then trying to explain. But bottom line is, I think that if we can work through solving the issue with Coopertown, and we've been working with Mayor Smith in Coopertown. He's wonderful. He's been great partner to work with, and so we're working toward a solution for everyone. So I don't think that there's going to be anything to be concerned about moving forward.
It's so interesting you mentioned the annexation, and I remember when the Switzers wanted to be annexed up on Lawrence Lane, and we're like, you can be, and so it was some of our neighbors that became annexed, and I didn't realize that was even a thing that you could say, I want to be annexed. Why would somebody, if I were to say, hey, I want y'all to annex my property, what would be the benefit for me?
Tons.
Okay.
Tons. Now you always hear about the negative. Say, well, I have to pay property tax, city property taxes. You do, but here's what you get. This is why we get requests for annexation all the time.
Because I was curious why they did it. Because I've never looked into
sewer service is one.
Okay.
So sewer is a benefit. We don't offer sewer outside unless there's very limited exceptions, but we don't offer sewer outside the city limits. You get sanitation pickup, right? The city sanitation pickup, which is cheaper than private pickup.
Right.
You get, and I don't mean this when I say this. I'm always caveat it to make sure it's not a negative. I'm not slighting anyone when I say this, but you get a dedicated police department to respond. So if you're in the rural area, in an unincorporated area, you're relying on the sheriff's office, which they're great, and their response time is great, but they've got a lot more ground to cover, right? So you get and that's why the city has a police department. You get presumably a faster response time because you have someone that's in a closer proximity to you, right? You also get a dedicated full-time fire service. What that does is not only does it provide you with, if you're in an unincorporated area, you may generally be relying on a volunteer fire department to respond to your home if your home catches on fire. But we have a dedicated full-time fire department, which not only can provide a faster response time, but also lowers your homeowner's insurance rates. So those are a few benefits off the top, and those are the reasons that we generally get requests for annexation of individuals because they see, okay, so the property tax rate, you may not be paying 79 cents. The property tax rate 79 cents. Well, the benefits I get, I'll save that property tax amount on my homeowner's insurance. It's that. Okay. I mean, so they see it as a cost benefit analysis.
Interesting, because I've never looked into it because I think our property could be annexed more likely right where we are. Yeah. But and it's just nothing I've ever even looked into. But the Switzers are the only ones I think that are there. And now here's another question. I don't know who took over the property there because they no longer own it, but it has fallen in disrepair. And so now that because it is a piece of city property, is that something that y'all would, because I would imagine their neighbors that are right next to them, like real bad fence issues and things like that. It's just, it's a hot mess.
Really?
And yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a note.
Yeah, seriously. Go down Lawrence Lane and check that property out and see the fencing because.
Whereabouts is it on Lawrence Lane?
If you go straight down Lawrence Lane as you're heading down towards the plant, it's to the right. It's this beautiful estate down the hill.
Okay.
But it's annexed into the city. And it is, I mean, they've got beautiful animals there. So whoever's taking care of the animals are doing a great job. Well, I'm sure I'm making them mad right now. But they're not my next door neighbor.
Right.
But I know that we have been walking before and had to get animals unstuck from the fence.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we've had to. We've had to help get them back in fences and things where they are fixed with cattle panels and just it's just the Switzers did such a beautiful job of that. That place was pristine and so it's really hard to see such a beautiful property fall into disrepair, but it is an annexed property into the city.
Yeah,
So
and we'll take a look at that.
I'm calling you out,
Yeah.
y'all. I may regret that, but I don't know. I've just been meaning to mention it to you, but that is what I mean. When you're part of the city, there are codes that you have to follow, correct?
And that goes to philosophically another part of the city is some people want to. There are I will say more regulation because that's what the citizens want. The citizens want a property maintenance standard.
Yeah.
They want a standard of how high your yard can be. And so they want, it's, again, if the citizens didn't want it, all they have to do is tell their elected officials and they'll get rid of the property maintenance code if that's the will of the people, right? But there is a property maintenance standard for what you can do. Now there is building code and there's all sorts of other safety aspects of a dilapidated home that may be unfit for habitation or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think they're there, but it's just a shame because it was a beautiful property and it's theirs, it's their property. But again, I think the people who live around them have no idea that it's annexed into the city.
Is that right? I don't think I did.
I would be surprised, and I may be wrong, but I'm almost 100% sure that is city property. That is on city.
It's inside the city limits.
It's in the city limits. And it was kind of a unique thing because that's why I started asking these questions because we're like, why in the world would he want to annex out here?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of just like a little piece that kind of sticks out, that's annexed. But anyway, well, that's quite interesting. These are the kind of questions you can ask him.
That's right.
Doors always open. So I got off track. So what else do you need to talk about?
Okay. Well, let's a couple things before we get to this weekend. Oh my goodness, we are. Well, that's okay. We can get there. 8th and Willow. Most folks, if you're not familiar with where that intersection is, that is where the post office is in town. And we took to the board last night and had a discussion with the board of mayor and aldermen, something that Clayton Moore, our public works director, has been looking at for a long time. We get a lot of complaints about that traffic light, about the necessity of that traffic light. I've been here a long time in my entire life, and at one point in time, there was a need for that traffic light. I told the board last night, I spent a lot of time at that intersection. My mother ran the store on the corner there where I grew up, when I was growing up, and the post office had a significant amount of business at that time. I'm not sure that the traffic I'm not sure why, but the traffic at that intersection has gone down significantly. And we get a lot of complaints about that light. We have people running that red light, which creates a safety issue. It costs money to maintain and to run, right? So the traffic committee and Mr. Moore had looked into alternative aspects and alternative solution for that intersection. And so we took to the board last night what we're looking at implementing, and that's a four-way stop. So we're going to take down that traffic light and make that intersection a four-way stop. We don't want to make it a two-way stop. That speed-wise, there's a speed issue coming down that hill as people are backing out from that strip center that's on 8th there. But the need for that red light no longer exists. Just to meet the needs, if you were looking at that intersection today and saying, what would it take? What would we need to have to put a traffic light there? Traffic would need to double or triple.
Oh, okay.
That's how low. Excuse me. That's how much of an they would call them warrants.
Yeah.
It does not warrant a traffic signal at that intersection anymore. So it's one of those things. I told the board last night that there are things go in waves, and so at one point in time that was a heavily trafficked intersection. It's not anymore, and we need to adapt to that to make sure we're not responsible for the safety issue that's being created there.
Right.
And a lot of frustration too. People sitting at that
Just
light
sitting there and they're like,
with
"Come
no
on."
one in sight.
Yeah.
It's just kind of unnecessary now. So
Experienced that, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that's one change that people will notice. One thing I want to point out before we go to speaking of traffic, I'm extremely proud of. And we have a lot to be proud of here with our traffic accidents. We've had, for the last 5 or 6 years, traffic accidents that have been over 600 a year. One year we were over 700.
Oh, wow.
We implemented at the police department a traffic unit, which was not designed to write tickets. Our budget is not made on traffic ticket citation. We have a large budget, and that's a very small amount of revenue. So it's not about traffic citations. It's about awareness and a lot of warnings and about visibility and bringing attention to people. Don't realize I walk the four-way stop at Locust and 5th 3 or 4 times a day, and people will pull up, and it's scary because they will pull up to that stop, that four-way stop, and I'm about to cross the road and they're staring at their phone.
Oh.
And I stop because I'm going to make eye contact with you before I cross because
Yep.
I don't want you to just let off the brake and roll through the intersection, right? So it was about awareness, and it's about, bringing that attention to folks and trying to bring those traffic accidents down. I am pleased to report that we have gone from 700 accidents in a year to 480
Wow.
in 2025.
Oh, wow.
So
That's monumental.
huge.
Wow.
That reduces fatalities. That
Yeah.
reduces injuries. That reduces property damage. That makes our roads safer. So I give credit to our traffic unit. The police department chief head had that sort of idea to say, hey, we got to do something about these traffic accidents.
Mm-hmm.
They're out of control, and implementing a dedicated traffic unit that, hey, stops somebody and says, hey, you're on your phone. Gotta get off your phone. May not even realize they were on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
their phone, right?
Yeah.
And give them a warning and let them go, right? But bringing that awareness to folks has reduced and then kudos to our citizens, because our citizens have now said, okay, I need to be more mindful, right, of what I'm doing. And so traffic accidents are down significantly in the city, and we're very, very pleased to report that.
That is awesome. That's huge, man.
Yeah.
That is
Big
a
deal.
huge cut.
Big deal.
Huge cut. Keep going.
Lastly, what we need to, there's you mentioned parks. I'll hit that Parks Master Plan survey. I think that survey is out for the public. It's an update that we're doing as we implement different phases of the plan and adjustments and new parks features. We'd love to have public input on that. That thing was created with public input. Again, we serve you. So it's, what do you want to see out of your parks and recreation here in the city of Springfield? So
Terry and I talked about that. It's the City of Springfield, Tennessee -gov, and you will find it there. And I think you have to have the survey in by the 30th. No, hang on. I'm sorry. We had it up and we were talking about it, and then there's a public meeting.
there he is.
Yeah. So do you have the public meeting date?
I don't. Of course I don't. But it should be on our social media, on our website.
The public meeting is Wednesday, February 18th. Complete the survey by the 18th. And then you can come to the meeting at 5 p.m. at the center.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Terry
Thank
and I
you.
had
I didn't
talked
have the
about that as
specific
well.
day.
So
And then finally, we'll wrap up with this weekend. Obviously, it's Wednesday, and as we get closer to this weekend, there's a lot of confidence about significant winter weather impacts, right? And I mean significant winter weather impacts. And I'm not getting wrapped up in totals and amounts, and there's a lot out there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We need to wait till we get closer to time to see where that lands, but I think we are confident enough at this point, based on what we've been told from the folks, National Weather Service and local EMA folks, that we're going to have significant winter weather impacts this weekend. What does that mean? We need to prepare, right? We've begun as a staff, we've begun our preparation already for this weekend because we're expecting it to be significant, right? And that's going to affect travel, that's going to affect services, and that's going to affect a lot of things. What do we ask of the citizens? When that happens, when that comes, if what they're calling for comes, please stay off the road.
yeah.
We do not have I said last night at the meeting, our police officers, our fire department, they don't have magic powers. They have tires just like you do. And if your tires slide off the road, their tires are going to slide off the road, right? So they don't have this magic jetpack that they can teleport over to you. And so we can't. So we needed folks to be mindful of that and try to stay off the roads. We're gonna I pledge we're gonna be treating and maintaining the roads as efficiently as possible. We don't know if we're snow or ice yet, right? There's a big difference
there's a
between snow and
big
ice.
difference.
If we have ice, we're going to have greater travel impacts. We're also going to have greater risk to the electric infrastructure and to other infrastructure. If it's snow, that's a little bit more manageable, still dangerous, still going to be impacts, but a little bit more manageable than ice. We're waiting to see what that looks like, but we are preparing for all scenarios, and I would ask other folks to do so. Be prepared. But I don't think there's a need to panic. I don't know that we need. I'm not a milk sandwich fan, so I'm not going to go buy bread and milk. But but I think we need to take it seriously. I mean, obviously we're not going to see grass this weekend. I don't think. I think we're going to have some white stuff on the ground one way or the other. So we ask folks to prepare, be patient. We will try to get the roads treated as quickly as possible so they're safe to travel on. And if the electricity goes out, we have additional crews that we have on standby that we've brought in to try to help with that too. So we will work as quickly as possible get services restored.
And it's just a lot. We were just up north where we were in 15 inches while we were up there, and of course
goodness.
they just take it out. We
Yeah.
were up in the Great Lake region where they have lake effect snow. It's just crazy. So we've already experienced enough snow for Mark and I, but it's quite different to see how they deal with it versus how we just don't have the facilities to deal.
That's right.
We can't facilitate it. It'll melt, y'all. Give it
Yeah.
a minute. It'll melt. I mean, it might be here a few days.
It will.
It'll melt. Into next week, we're back up in the 40s. Sunshine. It'll be out of there, and you will have enjoyed a nice little winter wonderland. Then we can move on to spring.
That's right.
Right?
We
I
hope.
love it.
Yep. All right.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, Ron Martin, our city manager at Springfield. Doors always open. Talk to him if you have questions, just like I was asking him about, some stuff that's been going on in our neighborhood. We've been kind of going, what about that? That's what you can talk to him about, and they'll check into it and see what they can do. And in a loving and neighborly way. Anyway, time for Lee Marie to come in here. It is another full hour of local programming with my sweet friend Lee Marie. She is on her way. You can always join her up at the Well in the Square. And I got to get in there and do some dancing. Y'all got to teach me to I've been promising them I'm going to be able to clog before the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. Can you clog?
That's a good goal.
Do you clog? Okay. I need to learn to clog because I said I was going to do that, and I got to do it. I don't like saying things that I don't get done. Anyway, stay tuned. Go Show's coming up next with my sweet friend Lee Marie right here on 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.